For more on this morning, let's bring in the number 2 Republican in the Senate, Senator John Barrasso, who is the majority whip. Senator, very glad to have you here.
Yes.
Thank you.
So you've been to every inauguration going back to Kennedy.
Kennedy,
I believe
1960. Yeah.
So I want to get into what this day means, how it feels different from the first Trump inauguration. But we also have this news here on the pardons from Joe Biden. You know, a few hours left in his presidency.
Yeah.
Mark Milley, Anthony Fauci, and members of the Select Committee on January 6th all pardoned. He says, I believe in the rule of law. It seems like he's saying he doesn't trust the incoming administration to uphold the rule of law.
Joe Biden spent his final night in the White House handing out get-out-of-free cards to all those people who did his political bidding. If these folks didn't do anything wrong, they shouldn't need pardons.
You know, he takes up that point. He says it shouldn't be an admission of guilt to accept this pardon, nor is it an admission of wrongdoing to issue them. But you say...
Because he was concerned about retribution from the Trump administration.
He says the investigations themselves would hurt the reputations.
President Trump has been really clear that what he's going to do is actually prove himself by doing an incredible job, bringing safety and prosperity to this country. That, he said, is going to be his greatest revenge, to show the American people what it's like to come back, to restore order at the border, to restore our strength around the world as well as at home, to rebuild the economy, to protect working families. That's going to be what
You're saying it's like that phrase, success is the best revenge.
It is, and he'll prove the date.
And before we move on, speaking of pardons, you said if these individuals did nothing wrong, why would they need pardons? President Trump talked about pardoning the individuals that committed crimes on January 6th. How do you differentiate those that committed acts of violence versus other individuals?
And I think J.D. Vance spoke to that specifically, that every case was going to be looked at individually. Some people have been wronged by the justice system, denied due process. Others, criminal acts trying to take down the country, handled very differently. Each one of those is going to be looked at individually. What we've seen here are mass pardons.
So you think people that were charged with a violent crime will probably not be pardoned?
And that's what the Vice President has said, and we'll wait to see what
He's been on
Trump
record about that. Can we talk about the mass deportations?
Yes.
He said that that's going to start on day one. We've been talking to people. Some people think great idea. Others are worried that how is that going to play out exactly? Well, they're worried about people being harmed or maybe killed or families being separated, and that it could possibly disproportionately affect the blue states. What can you tell us about what you know about his plan for mass deportations on day one?
Well, I expect there are going to be executive orders starting today on border security, on energy, on the economy, the things that President Trump ran on and won on.
But mass deportations affecting who?
In terms of that issue, you may have seen the New York Times poll. 87% of Americans say we should be deporting people who are in this country illegally, who are criminals. And today, this evening, in the United States Senate, before people head to the balls, we're going to pass bipartisan legislation, the Laken Riley bill, which is about a criminal who then, because he wasn't in jail, who was here illegally,
that was a young nursing
killed
student.
a 22-year-old nursing student out for a jog in Georgia.
Tragic case.
And a tragic case. So when we have, this is, first day in office, President Trump, the first bill we're going to pass in the Senate, bipartisan, addressing this very issue. And the poll in the New York Times, 87%. If they're here, criminal, illegally, out of the country.
In our final minute here, let's talk about the atmosphere, the mood, how things have changed. It really feels like since 2017, Donald Trump, it's been an enormous victory. He's turned business, he's turned culture in his direction.
He's widened the tent.
He's widened the tent, it's a more diverse
yes.
electorate supporting the Republicans this time around. Things have changed.
Yeah, and it was a decisive victory, and I spent a couple of hours with President-elect Trump yesterday. I was at Blair House with that group at breakfast.
What'd y'all talk about?
Well, we talked about the future. We talked about the economy. We talked about safety, prosperity for the nation, and energy, and the economy, in border, all of those things. There's an optimism. As I've been through all these inaugurations, everyone's historic. There's always optimism. To me, this is so historic because of this comeback victory. I mean, this is truly historic. And the fact every battleground state he won the popular vote. I think he feels very, very good heading into the White House, and so does the country.
Senator, the voters seem to have sent a very clear message, but I'm curious about you as a little boy. You said you've been to everyone since you were 8 years old at the time. Right, What does this mean to you? Because I do feel the energy feels very electric in Washington. So you've been to Democratic and Republican inaugurations.
Yeah, I wish we could be outside today. So many people came from my home state of Wyoming, and it's going to be beautiful inside. It would have been terrific out there on the mall this year. it's a great celebration of our nation, the transfer of power, and we're going to do it again. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
We've been able to do it so many years, hundreds of years, and we're still all here, and the world is better now than it was way back then.
Yeah.
We're living longer, healthier, more opportunities, better quality of life.
Peaceful transfer of power.
And the best days are ahead.
I was looking forward to being outside till I heard the temperature is going to be 6 degrees.
You're nice and warm right now.
You know, some of those folks who are going to be on the mall are going to instead be in a bar with appetizers and beers, so they're going to be happy as well.
People-
So, Senator Barrasso, I really appreciate it.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.